Hello once again my friends, and welcome to yet another PhilbertGreen painting video. As always, this isn't really a professional tutorial, but I hope it does help if you are following along at home. Hunting for supplies in Raccoon City Hospital has led our hunters to become the hunted. Yes, it's the first of the City of Ruin expansion pack minis, the Hunter Betas. With two minis to paint, both in an identical pose, these skulking terrors are easy enough to do them both at the same time. Just like my other videos, if you are following along at home, just take your time and go at a pace that you are comfortable with. As ever, we will be starting off by basing them with Mechanicus Standard Grey. With our new reptilian friends based, I started with their legs, arms, torsos and most of their visible head, using Mechanicus Standard Grey paint. Basically, just avoid all the horrible lumpy bits. I know it's hard to see, but it is a slightly different colour than the base coat, and in the right lighting you can see the parts you've already covered. As always, I thinned down my paints and I applied at least 2 thin coats. With all the appendages painted, it's time for their massive growths taking over the top halves of their bodies. I used Khorne Red to paint all of the exposed tumorous mass. If you guessed we'd be doing our scaly pal's claws next with Rakarth Flesh, then you guessed right. I also used Rakarth Flesh to paint the exposed teeth in what I assume would be their mouths. For the next step, I washed their entire bodies, excluding the claws and teeth, with Nuln Oil, making sure to get it into the recesses so the details will pop out once they're dry. Now that our pack hunters are more defined, I used Agrax Earthshade next to darken and dirty their claws and fangs. Once the washes were dry, I used Kieslev Flesh to pick out random lumps on their upper bodies. The idea here was to add a bit of definition, to break up the solid colour, and make some of their nasty growths look like they're about to burst. Lovely. After that, I used a final wash of Reikland Fleshade just on these lighter lumps to tone them down slightly. Clearly, there's a theme going on with Umbrella's monsters here, as just like our boy Nemi, I used a dab of white scar to paint their single exposed eye. And of course, the very last step was our go-to Astrogranite Technical Paint, washed with Nuln Oil and lightly dry brush with Celestra Grey basing technique. You know, I should patent that by now. Once again, as they are enemies, they get the red band around the base to set them apart from our heroes. A final detail I added was a small amount of blood for the blood god on their claws and on the bases to simulate the after effects of that deadly leaping move. And there you have it! The reptilian rascals are ready to ruin any survivor's day unlucky enough to cross paths with them while searching for supplies in the hospital. These guys are really good fun to paint, as they are completely different from their all-green counterparts in Resident Evil 1, and for the first minis I chose to do from the City of Ruin, they took hardly any time at all. As I mentioned before, I added blood for the blood god in at the end, more as a little easter egg for myself, as a throwback to their annoying yet gorily satisfying decapitation move from the video game itself. Once again, thank you all for watching, I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Stay safe, survivors!